everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with Rosie and we're going to be doing a Christmas baking video for you. So the one we've decided to do is we wanted to make a Christmas pudding, so we chose Delia's Christmas pudding, but as Rosie is vegan we wanted to make a vegan version of it, so that's what we're going to show you how to do today. So if you want to learn how to do that, then just carry on watching. So this is going to make a 2-pint pudding. We've doubled the recipe because we wanted to make 2. So here is a little shot of all of the ingredients you need, and I'm going to go through them. You will need 75 grams of breadcrumbs, 400 grams of fruit. It must have mixed peel, sultanas, raisins and currants, 75 grams of veggie suet, 20 grams of chopped blanched almonds, 55 mils of stout, and 1.5 tablespoons of rum or brandy. We've gone for cherry brandy. Then you also need 55 mils of cognac or barley wine, as it says in her recipe. We've got a little bit of orange juice here. We've then got a pinch of cinnamon, 175 grams of soft dark brown sugar, 40 grams of self-raising flour. You need the zest of half a lemon, half an orange, and 150 grams of bramley apples. Then you need 3/4 teaspoons of mixed spice, along with a pinch of nutmeg. Next you're going to need eggs, 2 medium eggs. We've got the Follow Your Heart vegan egg replacer. And then you're going to need a massive bowl, a spatula and a sieve. First we're starting by putting the flour into the bowl and we're going to sieve that through. We're then going to put our sugar right in. And then we're going to start on our spices. So I want 3/4 teaspoon of mixed spice. I'm going to measure this one out because it can be quite strong mixed spice. Eventually we'll get that 1/4 in. There we go. Next we're going to go for that pinch of cinnamon, just trying to get that popper out and give that a good old tap in. I put a tiny little bit too much here, you can see, because it wasn't coming out the tube, but obviously a pinch is fine. Then we're going to need some nutmegs, not this many, don't throw a whole one in. You're going to want to use a very small grater and you're going to want to grate in about a pinch, if you can keep hold of the nutmeg, that is. Obviously decided just need a little bit more there, not enough in there. Next you want to combine these together. Next you want to add your vegetable suet. You can get suet that's made from animal fat, but obviously this is a vegan pudding, so we're not going to do that. Then you add your breadcrumbs. We just used white breadcrumbs. Suppose you could use any you like. So I got a bit tired of stirring here, my arms were getting a bit achy, so I just got Rosie to do it, which was really nice actually, nice and handy, having an extra pair of hands in the kitchen. So next Rosie's going to add in those blanched almonds, all in one go, and then she's going to start adding the fruit. So the fruit that we got was actually from Waitrose, you need about 400 grams in total, and these were already soaked in brandy, so that was excellent, they were lovely and plump. Next we're going to add our zests. So obviously remember that we doubled this recipe because we wanted to make 2. So Rosie's going to do a whole lemon. And then a whole orange. Because we didn't want chunks of apple for people to eat, we decided to grate this as well. So we added this all to the mix. And then we just made sure that we got all of it out of the container because we didn't want to lose any of the zest, and gave it a mix. There's so much mixing in this recipe, you guys. You need someone else to help. Next we're going to add stout. We usually do Shepherd Neame's double stout. Pop that in there. And then we're using the De Cooper cherry brandy. Next we're using the Martell cognac, the VS cognac, and we're going to pop that all in and give it a little mix along with some orange juice. Then we're going to add that to the dried fruit, and then we're going to mix it all up. So Rosie, tell us what you've got there.
So I've got some Follow Your Heart vegan egg replacer. I'm using it today to make this recipe vegan because it's the only thing that we needed to change. I chose this one because I use it at home. I like it because it's really versatile. You can use it for scrambled eggs as well as just like replacing eggs and things. Obviously you can use other things like flax and banana, but I love this one so much.
What's in it and how does it work?
So what it's got in is algal, which is dried from algae. It's also got carrageenan and plant cellulose gum to help bind everything together, and that's what it's going to do in this lovely cake.
So there you go, that's why we're using this one, and it did combine it really well, as you'll see. So we're just going to spoon it all in. It had a really thick consistency, so it was very like if you'd whipped eggs for a long time. So you can see a close-up here of it combining, and it just looks like regular cake batter. So if you're worried about making a vegan pudding, you don't need to be. It just combines just like it normally would, and you'll be able to see it looks just like Christmas pudding in a minute. Nice close-up for you there. I thought you'd appreciate the close-up. Just like Delia's. So it's traditional for everyone to have a turn stirring. So here's Rosie's. And the idea is you stir it and you make a wish for the new year as you stir it. So I wonder what Rosie's wishing for. I don't know. Could be anything. She's got to go get Sam now. Sam's got a wish too. Here's Sam. And like I say, guys, this takes a lot of stirring. So actually it's quite good having everyone to do it. Even Chris got involved in the action. What's he going to wish for? A new bike? An action man? So I'm going to put a little 5p in there. I have sterilised this 5p, don't worry. I'm going to make a wish, so I put it in. So now we've mixed all of this together and everyone's had a turn stirring it. We're going to put it in the fridge and it needs to rest overnight before we can cook it. So that's what we're going to do. Now. So it's the next morning now, and I'm starting off with some silicone baking paper, some cooking twine, and also I've got my two 2-pint pudding basins. Yes, they are plastic, but they are fine to go in the water. So this is my mincemeat, I suppose we call it, cake batter from the night before, and I'm going to give it a little stir up because it's quite cold. And all of that smelled amazing when I took that thing off because all of those flavours are combined. And now I'm ready to start filling my pudding basins. These ones have 2 on top, so I know what's what. Really packing it down. I'm just smoothing down the tops because that way they'll just, I know how full up they are. I've got to make them nice and even. So now to wrap them up for steaming, I'm going to be using the Bakewell silicone paper, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cut part of it off, so measure it up, cut it off, and then I'm going to be very clever and I'm going to draw around the lid so I know that it's going to be the right size for the top of the puddings. So what I'm doing here is I'm just making sure that it's got like a little cover on it that's not going to stick to the cake. Feels weird calling it a cake, a pudding. Cut those out. And then I've just pushed those on top of the raw mix. Next we're going to take our strong kitchen foil. I really like the Lakeland one because it is really strong and the cutter is really good. I know that's a really grown-up thing to get excited about, but that's my life. And I'm just going to scrunch this all on top so it's like its own little lid. So there they are, nearly ready. Next we're going to take this cooking twine, and I made sure that I got cooking twine because I didn't want any other twine to sort of break up in the steamer. So what I'm doing is I've made a slip knot and I've just kind of getting it so I can make it tight along the side. You can see how the lids become taut. And then I'm looping it through in order to sort of make a handle, so when I pull it out of the steamer I have a handle, because I do not fancy dipping my hands in. Just like that. Nice work. So I've poured some water into a what's this called? A saucepan, and I'm just going to pop that on the heat, and I'm going to put my pudding in, and then it's going to steam in that for a really long time. It's supposed to steam for 8 hours in Delia's recipe. My one took about 10 hours. I think it was a little bit because we used an egg replacer, but it could have been any reason whatsoever. It could be that it was too liquidy, or, you know, who knows. So this is it after it's steamed. Obviously the lighting's a bit different because it's like 10 hours later. And I'm taking the foil off and the silicone paper, and you can see that it's become like a really firm pudding. There's a little bit of fat on the top, and that is just from the suet. On Christmas Day, you put this in for another 2 hours in the steamer, so while you're eating your Christmas pudding, that's going on in there. So all the vegetable fat's going to go back into it. So over the next few days before Christmas, you're going to want to take a cocktail stick and make a few holes in it, and we're going to do what's called feeding the cake. Got a lot of holes in that. And then I'm going to take some cherry brandy, because obviously it's in the pudding, so I thought it would be good to put it in. And we're going to just pop that over the top, and the holes are going to make sure that it just soaks in. Make it lovely and boozy. Just make that even. Pop the silicone paper back on, and we're going to pop the foil back on, and then as you saw earlier, these do come with lids, so I'm going to pop that on, popping everything on, and it clips on, so it's like a proper lid. And then this can just sit in a dark place until Christmas. You don't need to refrigerate it. It could go under your bed, it could go in an airing cupboard. I'm going to put it in my cupboard. So I hope you really enjoyed watching that. If you do make this, then let me know. I'd love to see your pictures. And I will see you very soon. Merry Christmas!